I'm Roberto Peccei. I'm a member of the Executive Committee of the Club of Rome. I live in California. I'm a professor of University of California, Los Angeles. Well, in a way, it's almost a family business. My dad actually started the Club of Rome almost 40 years ago in 1968. And I grew up with it in some ways, but I was very honored that I was asked to join the club after my dad died in 1984. And I've been trying to help move forward some of the ideas that the founders of the club had, which was to look at the world in a holistic way, try to understand what problems are besetting the world and trying to suggest solutions for them. Well, I think the Club of Rome really is focused on two things. First is trying to understand the interconnected problems in the world, and then try to suggest ways in which you can ameliorate certain of them. So I think they very early on understood that the continuous growth for both population and economic growth was untenable in the world, and they have been trying to understand what steps one could make to sort of change our path so that it would lead to a world that is more sustainable. Well, you know, the Club of Rome is a very small organization. There, in principle, there's 100 people. Actually, there's less, or something like 70. We have a number of national associations, of which the Canadian is one of them. And it's really important to try to bring the members of a national association into this conversation. Indeed, I would say that that's some of the strength of the club is really in the national associations. And national associations tend to be focused correctly, because they're national, into their own agenda. But it's very important that you can combine them and have them look not only at their own problems, but their own perspective to the world problems. And so this was a magnificent opportunity that occurred to try to bring people from Latin America, people from the States, and our Canadian friends here together. And so, in a way, I'm an observer, and I'm very happy to be observing a very nice and interesting process.
That's great. What do you think?
You know, I think that there are many, you know, there's an agenda of problems that actually everybody knows. What is very difficult to do is to construct an agenda of solutions. Okay? And so I think people are talking seriously of how do you move toward solutions to some of these problems, and it is very complicated because there are many actors, and many of the tendencies are opposing one another. So, for example, in Canada you have tremendous natural resources, but on the other hand, some of your natural resources are on your shales. That's a complicated environmental issue. So you know, it's important to hear what the Canadians think about this particular issue. Water is a common issue, but the water issues in Canada are different than the water issues in Mexico. They're different than the ones in Brazil and Argentina. But there's a commonality in the issues and the approaches. And so I think having different people from different places speaking to the same issues, I think, is very important. Whether it brings us to a solution, that's a harder question, but I think is a good path toward trying to move towards solutions. Also, what a very good path is that this is very informal. These are not, you know, these are not government officials. They're citizens with certain preoccupations and certain worries, and that's also important.